Welcome to the Resilient AF podcast. I'm Alex Fresh.
And I'm BennettKnows. We believe everything vibrates at a certain frequency, and we're here to raise the vibration.
You'll hear stories of resilience, manifestation, and what to do when you find that even resilience has a toll. Because the bitch is tired, honey. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning.
Happy belated Mother's Day to all you moms out there.
Yes, shout outs to all the baby mamas and mamas and mamas.
There you go.
We love you all.
Hope you had a fantastic day yesterday and got to relax or do whatever the fuck you wanted, actually. With or without kids, which was like how my day was. It was really weird. Like, it was a hard day, actually. And like, I don't care about holidays at all. I would rather not spend holidays with family, and I would just rather chill and do whatever. Even without kids, okay? But this Mother's Day, like the last year has been really hard. The last 2 years have been hard.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
If you guys don't know, I do have an 18-year-old daughter. You know, we've gone through it too, and there's just so much backstory on that. We're okay.
I think it's amazing, like seeing you as a mom, like you definitely changed my perspective on what motherhood is. Like, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
And like all my friends like that are parents or, you know, specifically our moms, because you do a really good job. Like,
Thank you.
I'm always amazed at my friends being parents.
Yeah, because we want to be. We love our kids, you know, like.
It's insane. You have a little person that came out of you and you raised them and they're like your mini-me and and you did an amazing job. You were like a teenager raising
I got pregnant at 17, had Bella. It's been tough in her teenage years, and she is about to graduate high school, and my son, okay, so normally it would have been my weekend.
Yeah.
But I didn't have him this weekend because I had a couple of my friends come in town from Boise, and we went to Matt Rife on Saturday night. Sunday comes around. Jax really likes it there because his best friend that lives right next door. And then, you know, it's out in the country and there's a lot to do. And like where I live right now is in a townhouse. There's not a lot of room, and he doesn't have any friends around here. And I do as much as I can with him. And like, I try to have fun, but like, I'm not his friends, you know, and it's different. Like, he's preteen, and anyways.
Kids got to be around kids.
Yeah. I just had a difficult day, and I cried several times. It just sucked because last year on Mother's Day, it was right before me and my ex broke up, and it just wasn't a good day. Like, I woke up and I didn't even realize for 3 hours that it was Mother's Day, and it was because someone texted me. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that's how insignificant the day was at that moment in my life just a year ago. And just to know what I've gone through since, like, and I really just wanted to spend some time with my son because my daughter, she's not in town. But my son, he actually chose not to. I don't make him feel bad, but I'm just like, okay, that sucks. Yeah. So, okay, wait.
That's not a reflection of your, like, of your motherhood.
No, I'm not done. So I'm like, he knows that I don't like holidays anyways. Like, he knows I don't care about holidays. So I don't fault him or anything. Like, and I also, as a child, I know how that is. I want to hang out with my friends all the time. Like, I really didn't want to hang out with my parents, you know? So I didn't take it personally. It just seems like the day is always insignificant. And I'm like, maybe I have made it that way because how much I've always preached about how much I hate holidays because of tradition for no good reason and spending all the money on stupid stuff like Valentine's Day. I just don't like holidays. And so I'm like, did I do this to myself? But
this is a two-parter.
I also have to get to the part where I did talk to my son over text yesterday morning.
Over text?
And he didn't even say Happy Mother's Day. So then a couple of hours later, he goes, Happy Mother's Day, by the way. Thanks. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Like, I can't even get a Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, no. You hang out with your son all the time, you know? So I feel you on the end where you're like, I don't do the holidays, you know? We don't celebrate them. It kind of is like, you don't need a gift to show that you love someone, you know? And just because everyone's celebrating Mother's Day on this day, I think it's just one day out of the year that, you know, people just put a highlight on it. And I feel like you do that 365.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't need a gift for that, and it doesn't reflect your motherhood at all.
Sure.
I think you're an amazing mom.
Thank you. I agree.
So good for your kids, you know, so.
Also, I don't speak to my mom, and that's because I don't want to.
Did you text her and tell her Happy Mother's Day?
No, since 2020. I've only talked to her one time in 5 years, and that was to tell her that I was getting divorced. Because I do feel like that certain someone really caused a lot of issues in my relationships. But then I realized maybe it wasn't all him, and maybe there's a reason why I did quit talking to her to begin with. And like, really, I just can't be around the negativity because, okay, I'm just gonna keep it real because it was fucking Mother's Day. And this is why I quit talking to my mom.
Wait, this happened on Mother's Day?
No, because it was Mother's Day yesterday. And so I'm just gonna be like, okay, why don't I speak to my mom? I'll keep it real, you know, because I didn't feel like when she was watching my daughter, she should have been around someone And I made it clear that I didn't want her around a certain someone, and my mom still let her around a certain someone. And they lied to me about it.
Who's the certain someone?
I can't go into that part. but
wait,
they lived really close together.
Her dad? Okay.
No, not her dad.
No.
And so me and the person that I was with at the time were out of town. And so my mom was watching her over the weekend. They both knew that I didn't want Bella to see this person because they were neighbors. And my mom actually allowed it. She wasn't like, hey, Bella, nope. Your mom said no. She egged it on. So then they also lied to me about it, and they didn't tell me about it until I got home. They were both making excuses, and they were both lying on each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, who's lying? She just went against my parenting because she thinks that her parenting is better, in which I disagree. So then I didn't talk to her. She didn't actually address the problem and apologize. I'm not a grudge holder, but when you're not going to actually respond to my issue and address what I'm talking about and me feel heard, not going to just brush it under the rug and just keep talking to you. That was where I was at. So fast forward 3 months, she texted me and she actually apologized and addressed it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Business as usual. We continue talking. And then less than a year later, went out of town again. Same thing happened.
Betrayal.
And then she straight up was like, well, I disagree. I think she should be able to see him. And I'm like, that does not even fucking matter.
Right.
So
what you think.
Just growing up with her and how she parented me, and I just was done. I actually had cut her off when I was 24 when I was pregnant with Jax because of her alcoholism. And she quit drinking then. And supposedly she's not drinking anymore, but she holds it against me. She's like, a cocktail would be nice right now. Well, then have a cocktail.
Right. But she says that as if like, I can't have it because of you.
Because she had to quit drinking because I quit talking to her. Well, I didn't tell her to quit drinking. I just said, hey, you have fun with that. I'm going to go. And she chose to have a relationship with me and my kids over drinking, which I was surprised because we know growing up with her, she severely drank and had DUI. She went to rehab. Like, it was a whole thing. Like, I was worried about her. And just thinking that she knows better and just remembering like how much she drank and like wasn't even fucking there. She had me a week on, week off. How many times I remember being picked up from the babysitters on her weekends is like absurd. You don't realize when you're a child. And then I was thinking about it as an adult. I'm like, damn, like she only had me half the time. And then I remember like every weekend being picked up from the babysitters. Like, and I would be sleeping. Yeah. My mom would have to like wake me up. She drank and drove with me in the car. So like there was a lot of reasons that I cut her off. I was always very nice to her and I'm a caring person, but it was overboard. Like I always put her feelings before mine. It was always what she needed. It was always catering to her. And I got so sick of it. It was the negativity in public. She would try to act like she was perfect. And then she would be like a closet cigarette smoker and like go around the building.
Yeah.
And
it seems like a lot.
She was a lot, carries a lot of shame and guilt. But I'm getting to my point by saying that after I cut her off the second time, she tried texting me like 4 times over the next 6 months. But when she would text me, it would be like, this person died of COVID. We should talk because life's short. And then I'm redoing my will. Will you still be my executor? It was just always about something, not addressing what happened. And I didn't respond to any of them. And then she came knocking at my door one day and I wasn't home. I get a text. You won't even open the door. I came by to let you know that I'm moving to Arizona. So she moved because I quit talking to her and she has nobody else here. That was in 2020.
Okay.
So she's been living in Arizona for 4.5 years.
Spoke since?
We spoke one time. I called and told her that I was getting a divorce. And so that was 3 years after she moved there. And then this is why I stopped talking to her again. This is where I'm wrapping it all around, right? I'm about to close it all up. When I called her and told her, we were texting a little bit and then some days went by. I could tell that she was pissed about something. And
this is through text.
This is through text. This was about a year ago. And so a few days go by and we're texting and then just like silence from her. And I know her so well that I'm like, she's mad about something. So I text her. I'm like, did I do something wrong? Because I couldn't have.
Because you just got off the phone. You guys were texting back and forth.
We had nothing. I had done nothing.
Like, I think we're good. We're good.
So she responds and says, I think we should have a conversation. And I could just hear it, how she said it. I have completely had it.
What did you say?
That's what she said. I think we should.
About what?
I didn't even care to ask. That's the controlling thing too, is she doesn't say what it's about. She ignored me and waited for me to reach out to her, which I saw her do all the time with her mom. Well, I'm just waiting for my mom to call me because she never calls me. But I couldn't have done nothing wrong, right? I didn't even give her any of my energy in a response because she didn't deserve it. How she even just phrased it was so manipulating and controlling because she doesn't say what it's about. And it's like she could be like, hey, yes, I would like to talk to you about this. But no, it's what she's done. It's what she's always done. And I'm done.
I know sometimes we don't have to deal with our parents. We don't have to deal with our family. We don't have to deal with people who don't add to our peace. That's very important, especially in my life right now. I don't care if like who you are. If you are going to interrupt my peace or my journey towards peace, then like I'm going to have to put those boundaries up. But I do feel like with our parents and like, people that are parents, you only have 2 parents and I lost both of my parents, you know, and I didn't have the best relationship with my father when he was here, you know. So you could love your mom from the distance, and I think like there's some way that you guys could repair that relationship where you could protect your peace, but you could still have that connection with her from afar and love her from afar, you know. I mean, because like just maybe like the way that you felt about, you know, Jax yesterday, she feels the same way about you.
It's just different. I mean, I have an older sister, and she didn't get along with my mom her whole life, and my mom would reach out all the time trying to have a relationship, and my sister was always very like mean to her, and it was always like this, talk for a little bit and then not for years, and she does it with her sister, and I just can't do it. I don't want to be part of that vicious cycle that they do, to be honest, and I can't love her from afar. Like, I can't really have a relationship with her because it's just, you have no, it's like on a whole nother level, Bennett. Like, I mean, I've heard people say that before, like, it's your mom, it's your dad, but like, whoever believes that, that's your guys' opinion, and I'm the opposite. Like, I don't even see how I could. That's how I feel. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's my mom.
Yeah.
If they are toxic, because there's a lot of toxic people. And some are going to be your sister, some are going to be your mom, some are going to be your daughter, some are going to be your aunt. Like, I don't care who the fuck it is.
They're going to be family. They're going to be friends, co-workers.
I will not be part of it because I just don't like drama. I love to hear about drama, other people's drama. I don't want to be part of it, okay?
Yeah, or experience it. Or
that's how I've always been. Bad. Sorry, I rant. I had to get it out. Happy Mother's Day. Oh my God.
Wow. Love that. Whew. That was a good one.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. So should we go into peaks and pits?
Peaks and pits. Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. So let's start with my pit. You know, I have the job at Amazon, and when I first got there was like this position, these people that would like work with the robots. You know, and I thought it was pretty cool. And
explain what the robots are for the people who don't know.
The robots, they're not like actual, like when you think of robots that like walk around, they're these little drives that carry shelves. So there's a bunch of shelves in the Amazon warehouse that have all of the items, all of the goods, everything that you buy on Amazon. They're in their warehouse in these shelves. Probably about 500,000 shelves in the warehouse.
It's insane.
It's insane. There's floors and floors of them. And you have these robots that drive around the warehouse and pick up these shelves and then bring them to the workers who, you know, ultimately package them up and send them to the people that buy them. So when I first got there, I was like, yo, that's so cool. Like the robots driving around and like the people have access to go inside and fix them. I'm like, yo, that looks really good. And also, it looked like an easy job. Like it looked like they were just like kind of standing around waiting for a robot to go down. And you know, it didn't seem like the robots went down all the time.
Nuts.
So at the time I was like, yeah, that seems pretty cool. Like that was when I started. Fast forward, it's been like 5 months since I've been at Amazon, whatever. And they trained me for the position, and god damn, I thought it was the easiest position in the warehouse. And it's the position where literally walking at least 10 miles a night.
What?
Because you're walking all over the warehouse. Boom, boom, boom. You're going to get your steps in. The girl was like, on a bad night, you're going to get like 10 miles.
What?
Yes. Oh,
they should have like a little scooter.
Fucking gosh. Like, boom, a robot breaks down at that side. Then you have to walk all the way to the north end and the south end.
That seems really inefficient. It takes a long time to walk places.
Oh my gosh. It's a long,
even a fucking non-motorized scooter. You know, like the skateboard.
But there's so many people working at the same time.
You know the little baby scooters when you're a kid.
Like a motor scooter.
Not a non-motorized one. You know, like the razors.
The razors?
That would
you still have to put in work.
Half the time. It would take you half the time to get there.
So maybe I should suggest that. So like, it's not really my pick because, you know, it's a pretty cool job. I like learning new things, but god damn, walking 10 miles a fucking night.
I'm sure there's a razor scooter in that warehouse somewhere.
Someone got the cheat code.
Just go get it.
Item off the shelf and just open it up. And here I go. I'm going to get fired if I do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
So yeah, that's the pit. My peak was because I did all this walking this week. I went out and celebrated this weekend. This past weekend, it was so beautiful out, 85 degrees in Seattle, warm. Which is like amazing because it's rain season. We get rain all the time.
It was bizarre, actually.
It was beautiful.
It was 87. I went like on one day.
It was
and then 85 on one day. I'm
warm.
Like
I got the booty. I have the booty shorts on this weekend.
You look good.
Yeah,
I like that.
Thank you.
I like the color. It's Vibing.
Thank you.
Looking good. I'm gonna have to get a pic and post it.
Oh yeah. Yep. Post me, baby. But yeah,
Hey.
I went to a couple of like rooftops and a cookout. Lots of good vibes, and it was just beautiful out. So that was my peak in my pit, and I got these long, crazy ass legs now.
Long, crazy ass legs.
Yeah, because I've just been walking like 50 miles
long, crazy at work.
a week.
It's good for you, Bennett. Get your water intake in as well.
I always get the water in. I want to see you walk up and down 10 miles a night.
I mean, I wouldn't want to. I could though. Okay, so my peak and pit. So live with a bunch of neighbors in a house around me, like houses all around me. Put our garbage out on the same day because garbage day is on the same day for all of us. And this week, this is the weirdest fucking thing. It was the first week where I didn't immediately take my garbage back in. And I thought about it, okay? I'm like, I don't know why it bothered me, but I'm like, whatever. I'll just do it later. Later came and my garbage is not there. Like my garbage can is not there. And this is also a really weird thing that happened because the week before when the garbage man came, I just so happened to see him pull up, which I never usually do. And he started writing something on top of my garbage. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, but when I looked at it, it said bag all garbage because I didn't. I just threw some stuff in there. So he was just like reminding me, hey, bag all your garbage. Okay. So that's how I knew that.
Wait, who?
The garbage man.
Okay.
Like I saw him writing something on it. Like he stopped and like had to get out and write it. So I knew that it was my garbage because it had a little arrow and it said bag all garbage. And I'm like, okay, so that was last week. So this week, my garbage is gone. So I'm trying to find my fucking garbage. Like I'm like, where's my garbage? Where's my garbage? I'm like, I'm actually
Like the can.
The green garbage can.
Yeah.
Yeah, my recycle's there, but my garbage can is gone. And I'm like, this is insane. So I'm like, now I'm gonna have to go around.
Say, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
We all got the same bin. I mean, like, but there was like none other ones. I'm like, I would take another bin. I don't give a shit. But like, there's none other ones to take.
Right.
So I'm like, now I'm gonna have to go around to my neighbors' houses and literally go sneak around because I don't know them and I don't want to go knock on their door. Like, do you have my garbage? So I just start walking around and I found my fucking garbage because it says bag all garbage with a little arrow. I wouldn't have known if it was my garbage if the garbage man didn't write that the week before and me see it.
That's why you seen it.
That's why I saw it. So I'm like, oh, this motherfucker. He probably definitely saw me walk right up on his property and take my garbage through his cameras. He had to have. But I didn't care.
You shouldn't care.
I shouldn't. Yeah, no. So I bring him back.
Fuck
How
that.
weird is that?
That's so weird. Why would he take your trash? Because like, where did his bin go?
I don't know. And it was like the first week where I didn't immediately bring it back in.
That's so weird.
But yeah, so that was my pick. Because I had to go like.
Neighbors are so fucking weird. You know?
Go garbage hunt. So weird. I don't really know any of my neighbors, but when I moved in, the one right directly across from me came over and introduced himself, and his name is Adam, and that's my first ex-husband's name. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, that's my first ex-husband's name. That'll be easy to remember, haha. And I'm an idiot. Well,
he was like weird.
Yeah. So he was moving out this last weekend, and he hired a moving company. But guess what? The moving truck's name is Adam's Moving Company. And I'm like, Adam hired a company called Adam's Moving Company. I'm like, what is that? This leads me into my peak.
Is it his company?
No. He probably just hired it because it was his name, maybe.
Yeah.
Or he just, who knows. But this is my peak. This is fucking crazy. We're living in the Matrix, okay?
Oh my gosh, what's about to happen?
Like my best friend from Idaho came into town this last weekend. And her husband took me to Matt Rife, right? He was performing at the Paramount. And we went on Saturday night, but Matt had 4 shows. He had 2 Friday and 2 Saturday. And on Friday, they get here early and we're kicking it. We go to Joey's in Bellevue, okay? So I meet them there and I meet Jessica there as well. Jessica's one of my other really good friends. We're sitting at this table outside for a good 2.5 hours. The last 30 minutes, this couple comes and sits down. And I'm not even
at your table?
No, like right next to us. Okay. And I'm not paying attention to them, but Jessica's like, oh my gosh, do you hear them? I think that's their first date. And you know how those conversations are really funny. Mm-hmm. But like the guy is like really facing towards me. I can see him really well. And he was really hot. And the girl was, I couldn't see her that well. Nothing happened. We leave. Okay, so Joey's is in Bellevue, which is about 30 minutes from Seattle, which is where
it was at Rife the Paramount.
Which was where Rife was performing. So the next night, we go to the late show at 9:30. Me and my best friend and her husband start walking to our seats, which are 3 floors up. Tell me why. I walk around the corner right to our seats and boom, there's a guy with a new girl.
Sitting right next to you.
3 rows down in front of me. Wow. I got a video of it and I turn around the corner. He's sitting in a fucking chair and I immediately, with a split second, knew that it was him. I turned around to my bestie and I was like, oh my God, the guy from last night at Joey's is here right there. And then her husband was like, holy fucking shit. Yeah, he is. Like,
oh my gosh.
No, what? So I was actually like really almost gonna go up to him and be like, I was at, because he would have recognized us, but I didn't. I got too nervous, so I didn't.
Oh my gosh, it's
and
so
he didn't see
crazy.
me.
What do you think that means, though?
Okay,
Do you think it just means you're in the right place at the right time?
I do feel like I'm meant to meet him, because, and I usually don't think that, but for the circumstances, because it's not a coincidence, everything is synchronicity and happens for a reason. But for him to sit next to me at this restaurant on the patio at that time in a city that was 30 minutes away from where Rife was performing, and it was like the late show, he could have been sitting anywhere in the theater. There's 3,000 seats. It's a huge
4 shows?
It is 4 shows. The theater is huge. He could have sat anywhere, even on that night, and I wouldn't have seen him. I was tripping. It's the weird, like one of the weirdest things,
weird.
right? Okay, so
No, it is weird.
But guess what though?
What?
Did you see my story? How I was like, I just put like a little cute story together about seeing Matt Rife. He liked it as soon as he got off stage.
Wait, who did?
Matt Rife.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I said, who's Matt Rife? And I said, who's at Matt Rife, right? Like I tagged him. And he got off stage at 12:35 a.m. on Saturday night. 2 minutes after he got off stage, he liked it. And I had posted it hours before the show. And so I was like, wait, what? Like, and I wasn't expecting him to even see it. So the fact that he liked it, I was like, oh shit.
You're looking out for you,
And
bro.
you know what? Okay, so here, I'm going to tell you what I thought about Matt Rife, because I'm a hard critic.
Okay.
And I was married to a comedian.
You were.
And I've ran comedy shows.
You did.
Theater shows. I know that. I just know the art of comedy.
Yeah. I think you're a comedian yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's really hard to make me laugh. And I just think most of the time it's cringe. So I was like, all right, well, who the fuck is this Matt Rife?
I know who he is.
My fucking cottonmouth right now is off the charts.
The Aquapod is not doing it for you, girl.
It's like room temperature, and I don't like it. So Matt Rife, yeah, he's like, he blew up because I think that he's an industry plant.
Yeah,
This
I've seen
comedian,
that, yeah.
he's 28 years old, and he's like selling out huge theaters, and just he has
4
like
fucking
8
shows.
million followers now. Okay,
Is he that funny?
I didn't think so, but I feel like he was better than most. But I just think that people are very easily entertained. And when people would laugh, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, but it's like, it really takes a lot for me to be like, okay, that was good, right?
Yeah.
I could be like, that was a good joke in my head. It takes even way more to make me laugh out loud. I laughed out loud only a few times, and it would be like, ha, like, cause like it would be so raunchy or
It's not like
oh shit.
Yeah.
And he is fucking crazy. He doesn't give a fuck what he says.
That
he
was-
sold out the Hollywood Bowl last week.
Insane.
Insane. Anyway, he thought that it was funny though, my story. Haha. Who's Matt Rife? Okay. So that was my peak and pet. Okay.
What time is it?
It's time for Ask Alex. Oh shit.
That was so bad. Wow,
Okay,
it's
let's
been
try it
a
again.
really crazy weekend. Ready?
Okay, 1, 2,
1, 2,
3.
3. What time is it?
It's time for Ask Alex.
Woo!
We just came up with that right now.
Yes.
Kind of.
It sounds great. I love it.
What's the question this week, Bennett?
If you could go back and change one decision in your life, what would it be?
Okay, this sounds fucking horrible. It's not meant to be though, but
Say.
this is the thing that like I've always like thought about my whole life. If this didn't happen, I would have done this, and I know I would have. If I did not get pregnant in high school, I would have went to play for the WNBA.
Oh.
Like that was always my childhood dream. Like I played basketball. I hooped my whole life. I was a point guard. I went to nationals. Like
Yeah.
I was on AAU. My team was good, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but
but you were
toot because.
Yeah, you were going to the WNBA.
I was going. I don't even know if I would make it because now I'm only 5 foot fucking none and a ton of fun. I always have to like mention that, you know, at least I'm fun size. I'm
Yeah.
short. There's a lot of things that short people don't get accepted for, like modeling and the goddamn NBA because you got to be tall. And even like the shortest girl on the WNBA is huge.
How tall is she?
I don't know, but like it was the smallest person and she was
Bigger
almost
than you.
6 foot, I feel like.
Okay.
So I don't even think I could have
Tall
tried
enough.
out. Like when I was playing basketball, because I was point guard, I was small. It took me so long to even realize this. And my coach just let me do this because she knew that I couldn't get in there. But like I wouldn't go in the key and try to get a rebound because I was so small. But I always remember just like I would just stand and wait until I needed to do something. But I was fucking Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
Like I ran that shit, but I couldn't get in there like because I would get trampled. The girls were so much bigger than me always.
All the time.
So I remember just waiting. And then one day I realized like how much time I spend waiting because like they spend a lot of time boxing out and trying to get rebounds where I can't do it. I'm just waiting out and everybody knows I'm waiting out. And then I'm like, my coach don't even care because like she'll be yelling at other people, get in the box, you know, like get down. Like she never yelled at me.
Because you were the point guard. That wasn't your.
But they all can go for it. Anybody can
Yeah.
go for it at that point. Like
But when you're
for
5 foot none,
when you're small as fuck,
it's not like.
it's like she didn't want me to get hurt.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway, the decision would have been,
Not to get pregnant.
yeah. I mean,
you would have Bella, or you would have a baby, the same baby, at another time if you could have went to the WNBA.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, I would have been involved in something basketball. I would have maybe went to college and played basketball, maybe.
That would have been cool. There's just a few things like you as a gamer and basketball that always surprised me.
Oh my gosh,
you do those things.
Bennett, I'm going to have to show you some pictures of me as a kid.
Yes, please.
The level of tomboy, because I had to go through some pictures this weekend. I'm like, taking pictures of these. They're on my phone.
Yes, you have to show me.
It was bad. I'm like, this is embarrassing. Okay, so what decision would you change if you can go back in your life?
Well, this one's really spicy. And there's things I wish I could have gone back. Like, I wish I could have done my piano lessons. I wish I could have done better in school. But I wish I would have to everybody in school. I didn't lose my virginity until I was like 24.
24. That was a decision that he made.
That was a decision that I
Not a religious decision.
Not a religious decision, but there was just so many factors.
Why? What was like a number one factor?
I wasn't comfortable with my sexuality.
Shy? Were you nervous?
I was shy and nervous. I didn't.
Which is crazy.
Have experience. I didn't date anyone in high school or anything. And, you know, there might have been like a little religious tone in there because, you know, I did grow up religious as well.
And he was adopted, if you guys don't know.
Yeah. Like what is it called? I practice abstinence all throughout college. And like
did you not do anything?
Anything.
No.
Nothing.
No kissing?
No kissing.
Okay. Flabbergasted.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
I don't understand.
I may have kissed one person. Yeah.
Like I'm talking about. Okay. But like was it a peck or like a French?
No, like a real kiss. Yeah.
Okay. How old were you?
I was probably at the time maybe like 20.
22.
Like that was the first real kiss like that.
The first French kiss that I had, I was 12.
I mean, I kissed a girl when I was like 12.
No, you didn't like girls.
Yeah, no, I didn't get the real kiss until I was like 20 something.
I was 12. 12.
No.
My first French kiss, and it was disgusting.
Ew.
Slobbery.
Ew.
Yeah. His name was bleep that out.
And when I looked back, because I was so innocent at the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone was like throwing it at you, like guys, girls. Like one time a girl like followed me to my dorm room.
Wait, so you knew though at this time?
No, at the time I didn't.
When did you like, how do you not know?
I didn't know. I was shy and I was like sheltered and like I didn't realize that like these are opportunities for people. Like why would someone just be coming to my room at 3 a.m. in the morning?
But you didn't want to with her.
I didn't want to with her or him or them or anyone that threw it at me.
It must have been so confusing.
Yeah, so I did not have sex with anybody until I was 24, until I was like, okay, I'll just do it.
How was that experience?
It was whatever. It wasn't great.
Like your first
sex.
Typical.
Yeah, it was whatever. But, you know, when I look back, I'm like, wow, you could have had sex with like everyone.
Well, it's actually probably a good thing you didn't.
Yeah.
Because then you'd be known as a town hoe.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I guess.
To each their own.
I wish I was a hoe. No.
You can be a hoe now.
My decision was not to be a hoe.
You're doing hoe activities.
I know.
And hoe tendencies.
No, I can't be a hoe right now.
Hoes are your friends.
Hoes are my friends.
Hoes are your enemies.
So yeah, the decision not to be a hoe.
That's good. I'm on that train too. I'm not on the hoe train.
You could hop on and hop off.
I've been off for a while. Okay, yeah. Hit us up. What would you do? Well, like if you had a decision that you could change, what would you do? I mean, I literally said I would not have my child.
Oh my gosh. And I said I would go back everybody. What would you do? Hit us up at ResilientAF3 and hit us up with your spicy questions or just like get real personal.
All right. So this week, the resilient guest is Wah.
Ooh, yours truly.
Welcome to the podcast, Alex Fresh. Hello. Hi.
Welcome, Alex.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. I'm going to tell you guys a few stories about my childhood and things that went on. And I touched on it earlier briefly about my mom and about the alcoholism. And that was really mainly like the problem. And my mom and my dad got divorced when I was 3. And this is wild. I didn't find this bit out until about a year and a half ago when my dad said something that he thought that I knew.
What did he say?
This is why I feel like what I suffered from as a child was separation anxiety from my mom. So I would have to spend a week at my mom's and then go to my dad's for a week and back and forth. And I loved my dad, but I wasn't worried about my dad like I was my mom. I thought my mom was going to die. Like she would drink Jack Daniels. She would get a handle and it would be gone in a couple days. And this was my whole life, my whole childhood growing up. My dad drank Crown Royal, so they both drank whiskey. And my mom wasn't mean. My dad wasn't mean, but I suffered from neglect and abandonment from my parents. And it's weird to think about because I thought that I had a great childhood and my parents were always there. They did the best they can. I think like my dad was a great dad. They were always there for me. I had everything I needed.
You weren't physically abandoned.
They didn't physically hurt me, sexually abuse. They didn't do nothing. They were just in their addiction and it caused abandonment and neglect as a child for me in certain ways that still affected me as an adult in my relationships.
How so? Like what type of situations would happen when you were a child?
I became very codependent on my mom. So back in the 90s, like you didn't have cell phones. So if my mom was out, I couldn't get a hold of her. That wasn't a good time for me. Like when I tell you that I got diagnosed with panic disorder, really bad anxiety, right? As a child, thinking back to how bad it was, like shame on my parents for never getting me help because they saw how bad I suffered. And I'll tell you a few stories about what they saw. But this went on for years. It would be any time I could not get a hold of my mom. I would call my mom all times throughout the day. I would find any excuse to go to the office to call my mom. When I would call my mom at work, I called so much, I had to check on her.
You felt like you had to check on her.
I felt like I had to check on her. I was scared that she was going to die. And I felt like I can't stand my dad's 100% of the time. I had a really nasty stepmom, which she caused a lot of issues for me as a child too, which I'm going to tell you a story about her. The constant fear that I lived in every single day because I thought my mom was going to die just debilitated me. The two words that I describe my childhood is fun and fear. I had so much fun. I played basketball. That's really what I spent my time doing. Or I was outside on my bike or worrying about my mom. That's what I was doing.
Because she was always drinking.
Always drinking. So was my dad, but I didn't worry about him like that.
Why?
I don't know.
Was it?
I don't know. My dad made a lot of money. He had a big house. He genuinely loved to do it. And my mom lived in a trailer park and she didn't have much. And that's where I would have preferred to be. It was because I just needed to be with her. She did not care that I was suffering because she was so deep into her addiction. This is how bad the anxiety would be as a child. As soon as I would walk in the house of my dad's, I would immediately go to the phone. This is every day. Call my mom just to check on her. If she didn't answer within the first 2 rings, okay, be like, ring, ring. Okay, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Second ring, okay, what the fuck? Third ring, panicking. 4th ring, oh my God, I'm about crying. And I'm young. And I'm like, why isn't she picking me up?
How old are you at the time?
This started at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Wow.
If it rang 4 times, I think she died. That's why she wasn't answering. I would call over and over and over until she would pick up, until I got a hold of her. And she would always have the same response. Oh, honey. Oh, honey. I couldn't even fucking talk.
Yeah. Because you were so like
debilitated. Like, and my stepmom was over it. She didn't care. She didn't want to see it. She didn't want to hear about it. She did not comfort me. I have 1 biological sister and then I had 2 stepsisters, her kids. We were all pretty close in age. She just really was nasty to me. My mom let me shave my legs at 10. And so her daughter was also 10, said she wanted to shave her legs. And her mom was like, what mom lets their 10-year-old shave their legs? And she was just shaming the fuck out of me. And we were in our RV camping. And I just remember just feeling so ashamed and like just feeling like I didn't have a voice. I didn't say shit. I just sat there like a weak puppy. Looking back at myself as a child in that fucking camper after she said that to me, I'm like, oh, fuck you, bitch. If I could go back, things that she said to me, she would tell me to save my tears. And she would do it like this. Oh, save your tears. I'm sorry, what?
Rude.
Did the fucking trauma that she caused me by saying save your tears the way she did and like never comfort me as a child?
Oh no.
Like, and this one day, I don't feel bad for myself. I don't feel sorry for myself. I know that I'm safe. I know I'm protected. I don't have that worry and anxiety now, but this makes me cry almost every time I fucking say it. This one day I got home and I couldn't get a hold of her. Nobody wants to fucking hear it anymore. None of my 3 sisters, my dad, nobody wants to hear it. Like, so I'm by myself. Like, I don't even bother them. If I can't get a hold of her, I just want someone to fucking sit with me. I just need someone to say it to, and I need them to understand, like, I'm in a panic right now and I know you can't do anything about it, but it helps for me to tell somebody that is around me that I love. But I felt like I couldn't do that. And this day I'm in the kitchen by myself and we had a cordless phone and I'm redial. And nobody's in the kitchen. And I'm staying away from everybody. I'm not telling anybody, but I'm fucking bawling as quietly as possible. My stepmom, she comes around the corner and she looks at me and she's like, what's wrong? And then she realized that I couldn't get a hold of her because I had the phone in my hand. And I looked up at her that day and I was like, when she walked on the corner, I'm like, oh fuck. I didn't hear her coming. And I knew she was gonna be pissed because she was so over it. Like I knew she'd be pissed. So I tried to hide it. I'm like, fuck, I can't hide it. Like I can't do anything. I got caught. And I'm like, okay. This all went through my head like within a few seconds. And I was probably like 8. I just felt vulnerable with someone who never showed up for me. And I said to myself before I said it out loud, I'm like, okay, well maybe, you know, like this time she'll have like some compassion. Maybe this time she'll help me. And literally all I needed was for her to sit next to me and say like, it'll be okay. Yeah. Your mom will call back. She always does. She always does. Yeah. Like,
it's okay. You
like, that's all I needed. Instead,
she's gonna call you right back.
Thinking like she was, this time, like, might be different if I say it out loud to her. Like, this is what I said to her. I can't get a hold of my mom. And she already knew. But that's all I said. I'm like, I can't get a hold of my mom.
And then she just was nasty. Like, I don't know why I thought that time that she would be compassionate, but she just snarled and said, "Save your tears," and then turned around and walked away. And I remember like feeling relieved that she walked away. But then literally this is like the saddest fucking part, thinking about myself doing this, like, because I didn't feel sad for myself, and I don't right now, but it's just so sad. But like, I walked, like, the kitchen wasn't super big, but we had like this big butcher block in the middle, and I walked on the other side, and I just slid down the back and just sat on my butt and just waited for my mom
By yourself.
So it's like, I've done a lot of healing.
Yeah, what has that healing looked like?
Well, I didn't even
And like,
know.
why were you dealing with this level of anxiety?
This is why I think I suffered from that type of anxiety as a child from such early on. After my dad and mom got divorced, my dad was no better than my mom, but he had money and he had a new wife that was a bitch, and they fought a lot in court, and my dad took me and my sister away from my mom for 3 months, and I didn't remember. So finding this out like a year and a half ago, my dad said something about it randomly. I'm like, "Wait, what? What do you mean?" And he was like, "Yeah, like after we got divorced, I had you for 3.5 months because your mom was doing coke and all this." And I feel like my dad did it just to be an asshole. So thinking back, I'm like, holy shit, I was 3. I just got taken away from my mom. Where'd mom go? Where's mommy?
Oh, wow. And you just recently found out
Like a year and a
that
half
this
ago.
happened.
So
No wonder why you were always looking for your mom.
no wonder why I thought she was gonna vanish.
Because you already did just
Never-
vanish in
yeah,
your life before,
yeah.
but you don't remember it.
I didn't
It must have
remember.
been so traumatic for you as a child, being at your father was without your mom, that you don't even remember it. You blocked it all the way out.
And I was very young. Like, I was at a point where it's like I might not have remembered anyways.
Yeah.
Right? And then he told me the story, and after 3.5 months, after my mom fought to get us back, the social worker took me and my sister to my mom's apartment. So much like connected that day, and I'm like, holy shit. The abandonment. What I've learned through therapy. I've been in therapy for a couple of years now in person, and I love my therapist. She's amazing. I also did group with her for a long time, which was in addition to my therapy with her. And I also went to this retreat. It was for a week. I didn't leave the property, and this was voluntary. And I learned a lot about my inner child and like the trauma and the nervous system and psychoeducation, the brain and the effects of trauma and how it affects you as an adult. And for a long time, I was just living most of my life dissociating and not realizing it. It's always going to be something that I have to work on. The nervous system is crazy. It's somatic therapy that you have to go through to really heal the nervous system and be like.
What is somatic therapy?
Somatic therapy is, so there's talk therapy.
Yep.
And then there's somatic therapy. My therapist is a somatic therapist, but we do a lot of talk therapy.
Okay.
Somatic therapy is basically like when you hypnotize someone.
Okay.
But there's so many different ways to do somatic therapy. Hypnotizing is like one of the main ones to explain it. And what happens is you can heal by having memories of these traumatic situations and your therapist explaining how to process it and what to do. And a lot of people don't understand on the level that, like, it took me a long time
Right.
to understand how deep the trauma affects your nervous system and the reactions that you have as an adult and that you normally might not have had if you didn't go through trauma as a child or as an adult. But typically it could just be one thing that happened. It could be one traumatic experience. It could have been like something that wasn't even like that traumatic, but it was traumatic to you as a child,
Yeah.
right?
Acting out of fear, whatever it
Many
is,
things. Yeah.
all the time.
Right. And like,
And you don't even realize it because you think it's this situation that you're dealing with momentarily or at the time, but it's like something that you've been dealing with since it happened 20 years ago and you haven't even thought about it.
it's on a whole nother level. And they explain it at the retreat that I went to, a functioning adult versus a non-functioning adult. And a non-functioning adult in a relationship, say for instance, your partner says something to you that pisses you off.
Yeah.
And you have a reaction that immediately a nasty response back to. Because like people get easily like,
Triggered.
easily. A lot of people will go on guard and they'll immediately have an attitude back. Most people are non-functioning and they're reacting to something. And it could be also you weren't hurt as a child. Maybe an adult embarrassed you. But if you were a functioning adult in a relationship and someone said something that otherwise, if you were non-functioning, would have pissed you off, that adult would have a different reaction. Something like not letting someone else affect their mood. They would have a different reaction. Like, are you okay? Are you having a bad day? What's going on? And then setting boundaries. I don't deal with that. I don't get talked to like that in my relationship. So if that happens again, I'm going to have to move on. That's a functioning adult.
And there's so many people that will literally continue to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And they won't say, you know what, I'm going to set these boundaries. This is how I love myself. And this is how everything else is going to align towards that. It's just like, oh, I'm going to make this person love me, or you're going to fit into my box.
Even they think that they might not have anything wrong with them. In my instance, I would get really easily offended. Like if someone got an attitude with me, I would instantly get an attitude back. Yeah. Like I would get mad though that they would. I'm like, why are they acting like that? And then I learned, like, I don't want to let someone else affect how I feel. Like I don't want to feel like that. And a negative reaction back to somebody, I still do sometimes, where I'm super aware of it. And I've gone through a lot of somatic healing. I still notice if somebody does or says something,
you'll still become triggered.
Yep.
Even with the work that you've done.
Even with the work that I've done.
And being able to point out these things.
It's always
because it's really so deep rooted.
Yeah.
These are things that we've been doing our whole entire lives.
Yeah.
Subconsciously. So it's like when you're pointing it out and you're trying to fix it, it's hard to do those things. It's like a bad habit. You got to really want to change a bad habit.
I can even recognize that as soon as it happens, knowing that this is affecting me right now and it shouldn't be. And I'm still allowing it to because I'm mad right now. Healing is ongoing. Like
forever.
I do feel like most adults right now will know if they're functioning or non-functioning. If they're really truly looking at themselves, they'll know. And I feel like most people, if they're being true themselves, can say I'm non-functioning.
Yeah, I would say I'm non-functioning, but I could point out the things that I need to work on and heal for sure, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I could like you said, there's sometimes when it's like really hard, where wherever you are in your journey where you could point out and say, oof, this is an ugly trait of mine, or like this isn't like something that I should do, but it's like one of my favorite tools in my bag to like use at times. So like you get to those points where it's like, damn, I shouldn't be doing this, or like Maddie said last week, do I love myself if this is a tool that I'm using? Are they going to continue to use these bad habits?
Healing is a journey. Yeah. I'm now more functioning than I am not. Because I used to be living in a reality where I was pretty much always non-functioning. Even though it wouldn't be wild and crazy and toxic, I would still be a non-functioning adult. I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't like, I did no somatic healing. Yeah. And then because of how I was in relationships where I'm like, I don't really start it, but I'll pipe back. You think to yourself, well, I'm only acting like this because they are acting like that. And they said this to me. And no, therapy takes a long time and it's a journey. And so there was a lot of things that I didn't understand until I went for a long time, you know, that I heard a lot, the same thing. So it takes a long time for really your brain to really fully understand it. And don't give up going to therapy. A lot of people are like, oh, I didn't like my therapist. Well, it's not all. Talk therapy is a great, it can't just be talk therapy. Like it has to be somatic and talk.
Has to be a combo of both. And there's just so many out there that like, if you don't like one therapist, you can find another.
You can start. You can even start on like something like BetterHelp. Like there's things online you can start, and there's amazing people, and they want to help you, and they're very knowledgeable. They could give you resources to maybe a podcast or a book that will put a lot into perspective that will just lead into the next thing, which I think is what happens. You know, like you start reading things, and it's fascinating. You want to learn to be better. If you want to be better for the people around you, you start to mature. Like in your 20s, it's like fuck, it's really really hard. You know, like
in your 20s, it's really hard. But I think in the 30s is when you like start realizing for sure, like, okay, there's some work that needs to be done because you've been here for a while, far into your journey. And it's like, all right, well, this is how I want to live. You really start to choose those things. And that's where those habits come through. It's like, if I want to live like this, can I still be blowing up on people?
Right. You got to figure out why you are, though.
Why?
That's a non-functioning adult. A functioning adult, most all of the time, probably had a really easy life, to be honest. And there's probably not that many people that had that experience.
Life, you know?
So you got to, like, if you got to figure out why you're having those reactions. It's some sort of something that happened in the past, and your therapist will help you figure it out. I encourage everybody to try therapy. You need to find someone who really vibe with, because there's a lot of therapists that you won't. It is what it is.
But don't make that the end of your journey.
And then just keep going, because it takes time to hear things from them. It's only once a week for an hour.
Like you said, it's a continuation. Like you're building, it's a journey. You're building, it's like building blocks, you know, to become a better person, to become your higher self. I think it's important to like point out like what to work with that trauma, you know, because there's so many little situations in our life that happen and you're like, oh, well, that just happened. And it's like, no, that's traumatic as fuck.
Totally.
Like that's,
oh my God, totally.
That's, you'll tell the story and they're like, whoa, that is fucked up.
Yeah. So thanks for listening to my story.
Oh, of course.
And you're going to be up next week.
I'm up next week and I have a couple of stories.
If you want to be a guest on the podcast and tell us your resilient story or a time in your life that you went through where you overcame it and you're in a better spot, hit us up at resilientaf3@gmail.com. We want to hear your story. Don't tell us the entire thing. Just give me like a few
Pointers.
a few points about your story, about what it's going to be about. And that's all I need, really.
Or on Instagram at resilientaf3.
Yes.
Hit the DMs.
Hit us up. You can also follow us individually. I'm at that Dreas.
I'm at BennettKnows.
And we hope you have an amazing week.
You're going to have an amazing week, Miss Mexico.
Oh my God.
Talk about it next week.
I didn't even talk about that. I'm leaving tomorrow.
I know. We'll have to save that for next week now.
I'm going to be doing our next podcast on Zoom from Tulum.
Exciting.
Yeah. All right. We love y'all. And
Yes. Love
talk
you.
to
Have
you
a good
later.
one. Bye.